Sonic Adventure is a well-known landmark title of the Sonic series. It brought the games to the third dimension whilst evolving its core elements for a new age. Whilst it got many things right, there are areas in which some may argue the game has not aged so well. Of these, a few are addressed in the games that would release afterwards, but naturally, that does not help Sonic Adventure itself. It can be quite surprising to note how Adventure now is older than Sonic 1 was when it was released. Some people simply wish to play Adventure with an updated visual polish fitting for the modern age, whilst others want a complete overhaul for everything from graphics to controls and voice acting. With Sonic Colors getting its own remaster in the recent past despite being far younger than Adventure, you can see why there is a belief that Adventure is due a renewal itself. Whether it is a remake or a remaster that you are after, I'm here to tell you why you should not want them for Sonic Adventure. Do I dislike the game, you ask? On the contrary, Sonic Adventure is one of my favourite Sonic games out there, but I believe that much of what makes it Adventure could be lost during the remake process. Now, if you have never played Sonic Adventure before, a renewal is going to be a lot more appealing for you. We all know games that might be of interest to us, but dated graphics put us off playing them. Typically, if it was a game you played in the past, it can be easier to overlook aged graphics. For this case, assuming you were okay with the rest of the game, a modern remaster would suit your purposes just fine. Before we jump into the full swing of things, I would just like to ask if you could ring that bell notification if you wish to hear more from me and see more of my videos. Simply put, the statistics tell me that the majority of my subscribers are not notified when a video comes out unless they have the bell notification turned on. So whilst I don't usually ask for this sort of thing, please tick that notification if you do wish to see more of my content. Now let's get back on with the video. The problem with remasters is that what they can involve varies from game to game. The most basic element of a video game remaster is to update the visual presentation of a game. This may involve the raw graphic fidelity, such as raising an HD game into 4K or increasing the render distance of far away objects. The user interface, menus, button prompts, etc., may also be moved or replaced to better convey information in accordance with modern gaming trends. Some projects might even update audio with new effects recorded through better microphones or created with real instruments if the old version had synthesized music. As you can see, even when talking about the basics of a remaster, there are many things that may or may not be included. My main concern in this regard is if too much is changed from the original to where it stops feeling like a faithful update. Sonic Adventure has many iconic soundbites and effects, such as the Spin Dash Charge, Puzzle Complete jingle, or Chaos's echoing cry. Updating these might make them sound clearer, but could also result in a different sound experience. Of course, this is a minor issue, but you can apply it to all other core elements such as graphics and UI, which together can change the game's feel a lot. The main risk of a remaster is when it comes to the voice acting. Love it or hate it, the voice lines we got in Sonic Adventure have become iconic. A mixed bag of deliveries with a ton of personality holding it together. A lot of moments in Sonic Adventure are enhanced with the somewhat over or underacted lines accompanied by the stilted character animations. It has a unique charm, but it also shows the efforts made to push the series to that next level despite the growing pains. And by no means do I wish to say the existing talent did not do a good job in areas of the game. Dr. Eggman has so many great lines and their deliveries in Adventure. Gamma sounds perfect for the role, and Sonic often slings quips at friend and foe alike. There is a lot to genuinely love in Adventure as much as there is to ironically enjoy. Should a remaster elect to update and re-record the lines, a lot of that authenticity is lost, making it quite a different experience. On the topic of a different experience, we have the possible remake. Unlike a remaster, remakes are not beholden to preserving the original experience in any way. Sometimes a remake can feel like a larger remaster, but most of the time they completely alter the original experience. For example, Pokemon Fire Red was a remake of Pokemon Red, and whilst adding features like the special defense statistic, it was largely faithful to the original. Pokemon Omega Ruby, on the other hand, was very different from Pokemon Ruby, adding a new Mega Revolve mechanic, new Pokemon, a different story, and new characters. Some remakes can change even more than that. A remake offers an opportunity to add or change features that were not well received, such as Big the Cat, as well as to impose modern goals onto past works. For instance, Sega might have decided to somehow write wisps into the story so that they could be used in gameplay. There are numerous risks that a remake might bring to the authenticity of an adventure experience. Sonic's controls in Adventure continues to be a highly praised aspect, with his movement being responsive and fluid while still going fast. Many look to his controls in this game as the basis to how a 3D Sonic should play. A remake could completely change the gameplay of Sonic. He might use the boost formula, he might be more combat focused as seen in Sonic Boom, or he might play like a worse version of his Adventure self. Even if the goal was to make a similar experience to Adventure Sonic, the problem is if Sonic Team would be able to recreate that control today. Not even Frontiers has matched the precision of movement Sonic had in Adventure after all. Much like the characters, levels would also be completely overhauled. Some might be cut from the game completely, meanwhile the ones that remain would play completely differently. Think of how the Emerald Coast relates to Sonic 06's Wave Ocean. They share the same motif and have similar hazards, but they are two distinct levels. An Emerald Coast in a remake could be just as different as Wave Ocean is. That is to say that a remake wouldn't be like playing Sonic Adventure at all, and it is effectively a new game wearing the clothes of an old one. Other core features, such as the story, could be altered completely. This is not always a bad thing, but there is a very fine line between creative liberty and fan fiction. Sonic Adventure laid the groundwork for many stories which followed it. Having the same events play out in an altered history, or even flat out contradicted, could further confuse fans on what exactly the Sonic story is, which is something the franchise does not need any more of. As crazy as this may sound to some, a Sonic Adventure remake might not even include the beloved Chao Garden. We have not seen that feature in full since Sonic Adventure 2, despite Sega acknowledging it is the most requested feature to return. The cost and time of producing a remake could mean that Sega decided to cut the Chao Garden entirely just to ensure they could meet their other development targets. For those of us that appreciated the art style of the Adventure era, further disappointment may await you. The character models would naturally be replaced in a remake, but with what? Sonic could receive a somewhat faithful high poly recreation of his Adventure look, featuring a dark blue hue with long quills and whatnot, or he might just be given the Sonic Colors model which we've been seeing for a decade now. This is not only a huge departure from the Adventure art style, but a terrible fit for all the facial animations used in the game. Worse still would be if Sega made a completely different look for whatever reason, such as the Boom Sonic design or something along those lines. Of course, all of this is to say that if you are a fan of Sonic Adventure as it is, these renewals might not actually deliver on the experience you have in your head. They run the risk of obscuring the original Sonic Adventure from newer fans, which, depending on if it plays worse or alters the story heavily, could simply be worse off for the series overall. The original already exists and can always be played again, I understand, but I hope you can also appreciate the desire to see it being done justice if it were ever to be recreated. Ultimately, if you do wish to see the adventure style again, I believe it would be far more beneficial to ask for a completely brand new experience utilising the adventure formula rather than digging up the old games which are already widely accessible today. That way, the legacy of the original is left unscathed, whilst a new experience is free to tweak and modify it to whatever goals they deem important for the modern age. If you are interested in that topic, or believe that a remaster is required first, I have actually already made a video on the topic called Adventure is Dead, so I recommend you check it out. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say and it gave you something to think about. If you have any thoughts you wish to share, feel free to do so in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video if you wish to see more. I hope you have a great day, and to see you next time. This is the Mighty Emperor, signing off.